All right, guys, welcome. This is the OMN Podcast. I'm here with my boys. There's Jamie, there's Kingsley, and there's Garnett. And it's all about the NBA. Postseason is still on. I have two Celtics fans here. They are not in the best of moods today. So this podcast today is going to be more of an emotional one, but at the same time, we still have to put our emotions aside and talk basketball, everything basketball. So guys, we're going to start it this way. We'll start from the Western Conference. This is over. I'll start with you, Jamie. Were you expecting the Warriors to be in the finals right from the tip-off of the season?
I wouldn't say yes, because looking at how the team had been constructed, I don't know, but they were good from the beginning. They were very good defensively from the beginning of the season, but I couldn't really put like a pen and paper on it or put my money on it that, they were going to be in the NBA finals again. But what I knew was once Clay came back and then they were playing the best of their basketball, because Golden State it's a culture, it's a system. So once you're able to fit into the system, you can thrive anywhere. So once they had Jordan Poole going, they had all these guys, stepping up, it became very evident that once they threw Klay Thompson into the mix and then he got back to even maybe 70% or 85% of his old self, the team was going to be a different team. So yes, I was expecting them to make like a run, but I wasn't expecting them to be in the finals. I wouldn't lie. But I knew they were going to be good this year because obviously the Splash Bros were there, and then there was Jordan Poole. It was just the core team that had come back together. So I knew they were going to be good. I wasn't sure they were going to be in the finals.
Okay, Kingsley, were you expecting the Warriors to be in the finals?
The Western Conference Finals, yes, I was expecting it because, provided how Clay was like playing, it all depended on that because I was expecting them to be on the final based on Clay's performance. I thought Clay was the X factor here. Well, when Clay came back, I saw Clay. He's not the same player he used to be, right? But at least I think he's a player that would help them reach the conference finals. So I was like, Warriors are definitely going to the conference finals. Them winning the NBA championship, however, would depend on Andrew Wiggins playing the best basketball game he's ever played. Like the way he did against Mavericks. That is the only way. Andrew Wiggins cannot just go and not show up. It would be very difficult for Warriors to win the chip if he doesn't show up. I'm not going to lie. Because see this Celtics defense, they really pay attention to shooters. They could guard you from the perimeter, from the rim and stuff. They will need every scorer, like every help they can get. And I feel like Wiggins, right? The reason why I'm stressing on Wiggins is the only inconsistent scorer among all of them. So I feel like if he shows up, it's over. Okay. But then it all depends. We know Wiggins. So
all right. Okay. Garnett, were you expecting Warriors to be in the NBA finals right from the beginning of the season till today?
Yeah, they went into the draft pick very hard and then they got some prospects, some talents. But then I think last season when they were going through it, when they were having a very bad season, I tweeted something. I was like, this team is not done. They are going to come back. But then I didn't know how fast that was going to be. Okay, so here's the thing. I needed just 10 games into this season to actually get my mind straight about who is actually going. Yeah, I needed 10 games. I needed just 10 games to actually put my mind on it seems that this particular team is going to a finals or this particular team is not going. Right from the start, we saw how Lakers were performing. They started losing from playoffs. Preseason into the regular season. They started losing, and then on the other hand, the Warriors without Klay Thompson at that time were winning almost every game. Okay, so with the system they were playing with and the core players they were playing around, what do you call it, Stephen Curry, I knew they were going to the final straight with no doubt. I knew they were going to because they were the strongest in there with the Phoenix Suns. Okay, so Klay coming back to the team made it even more stronger. He wasn't the Klay that we knew from 2016 coming, but then I think he's also fitting into it. He's recovering very nice and everything. So right from the 10 games, I knew they were going to the final straight. I knew it because those people are crazy, man. You know, you see how they run the floor. You see how like they share the balls. I mean, the ball movement and everything. Their defense is on point and everything. So me, I needed just 10 games, and I said it. I tweeted it. I have the tweet to back it up because I knew they were going to the finals straight. I knew they were going to the finals, no doubt. All
right, now Jamie, when we started the season, there were people that were saying before the season started, there were like people saying the Warriors is over, and then they had Wiggins, they traded for Wiggins, they sent D'Angelo Russell to Timberwolves and got Wiggins back. And Kingsley also said Wiggins if he plays the best of basketball, the Warriors stand a chance of winning whoever they come up against, whether it be Miami or Heat in the Game 7. Do you think Wiggins is the X factor as to how the Warriors has been playing very good this season, or there's another player aside Wiggins?
Oh, absolutely, it's Wiggins. It's Wiggins because mostly he's been the most inconsistent. And if you guys remember, at the beginning of the season when the COVID rules were going in place, he was the one who didn't want to get vaccinated.
Yes.
And then in California, they also had the same rules as New York. And they had to talk to him, they had to get him doctors, they had to, because he was giving religious, excuses and stuff like that, they had to, really sit him down and talk to him that, we're trying to get this done, so you gotta be logged in. And then eventually he did. And so that was, I think, the number one thing, even off the court, because like I was saying earlier, Warriors, it's a system, it's a culture. Once you buy into it, everything begins to move, everything begins to flow. Yeah. So they needed him to buy into it. So coming in and getting his shot alone was a huge step for him, because once he took the shot, he knew, I did something I didn't want to do, meaning I have to go out there and play my best basketball. Because if he didn't want to get vaccinated and then he really did something against his own will, just for the sake of the team, like what you say, he took one for the team, then obviously you should as well just go out there and play your best basketball. So definitely it was going to be Wiggins. Others would argue Klay Thompson because he's Robin to Steph Curry, so they were expecting to come in, but he wasn't going to come into the season until a couple months into the season, right? So it had to be Andrew Wiggins, because if you look at the roster, right, when Kevin Durant left, they didn't really have a replacement for him until Wiggins arrived. Exactly. So Wiggins was going to fill that spot of like Harrison Barnes and then Kevin Durant. So he had that huge role he had to fill into. So he was going to be the one to really carry the team in the wing aspect alongside Draymond Green.
And okay, also there were talks that during the regular season, Coach Kerr needs to go because they were actually dropping some games. I mean, there were some games where they were up to 20 points before the fourth quarter, and then they will end up losing. Were you expecting Steve Kerr to be sacked?
Oh, hell no. Look, let me tell you something. Fans are always going to be fans. And there's a reason fans don't run front offices, right? And then if you watch the game very well, all coaches make mistakes. All coaches, they run some wrong lineups, they make some wrong substitutions, they run some bad plays. It happens all the time. It only becomes a problem when it becomes consistent, right? Yeah. And then you can see from the beginning, and if you see a team that isn't going offensively, but is still doing their best defensively, you should know at some point the team is going to, come together offensively as well, right?
Yeah.
They were playing, I think, up until Boston came in, Golden State was like the number one team in defensive efficiency, right? Yeah. They were playing very, very, very good defense because already they had gotten rid of Avery Bradley. They kept Gary Payton. They had Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green. They had all these guys. So it was just the same core piece of Golden State that were coming back from last season. So the defense was going to be there always. So as to how they blew some leads, those are things that they were going to work. Like Garnett said, he needed 10 games to see how the season was going to go. And yes, that's how they look at seasons in 10 games. So after every 10 games, they look at how the things are going, how things are changing. And then you could see very well the team was progressing and we're getting ready to have Klay Thompson join the team. So once Klay joined, it was just plug and play. Everything just took off like that. So I didn't think they were going to sack him. Come on, no.
All right, Kingsley. Now, before Clay joined, he hasn't played basketball since 2019. And there were talks that, would he be a starter? Would he be coming off the bench? Because Jordan Poole had picked up and averaging 21 points per game. Were you expecting Poole to Klay Thompson to start from the bench, or were you expecting him to be a starter, just like he was?
Okay, so I was expecting him to be a starter, right? I was expecting him to be, because, well, he's Klay Thompson. He's a Hall of Famer and stuff, right? Seeing him a couple of games, I was like, you know what, this guy's going to pick up and stuff like that. Well, there were some games I feel like Coach Kerr made a mistake. He should have made
Jordan
Poole the starter ahead of Clay. But then they kept trusting Clay, which they should. And I feel like Clay always comes up in clutch minutes. Like, whenever you need him, that's when he shows up and he gives you the points. But then the thing is, first quarter, second quarter, Clay would play rubbish. Clay would go for 0 for like 8. But then third, fourth quarter, you see Clay will come up. So I feel like, when beginning of the season, right, I was the part of like the fans who were saying, oh, Coach Kerr is like a bad coach and stuff. But then going into this season, I realized he's a really, really good coach, because then he makes adjustments and he knows he sticks with what, like, his plan. He doesn't make anyone like derail him from what he wants to do. So I feel like him starting Klay Thompson and benching Poole is the best idea. Like, if that was the best thing that could ever happen to the Warriors, because then you bringing Poole in as a bench player gives, like, it still gives you offense and elite offense as well. Poole is like a baby Steph Curry. So it's just like you have another Steph Curry on the bench whilst Steph Curry checks out the game. It's really crazy.
Okay. All right. Garnett, you said you needed 10 games. What happened after 10 games for you?
They won so many games I think, they won a lot of games before they started losing here and there and all that. But then I think Clay coming in also saw them losing a lot of games. I didn't really expect the Warriors to be playing Clay right from the get-go. This is somebody who has not played for like 2 years or maybe more. So I was expecting them to like let him come off the bench, try and get his groove on little by little before he actually sets into the game, because this was somebody was already playing that he was doing so well. This is Jordan Poole. So you playing Clay right from his he coming back from injury was a big no for me, because it's like we are trying to build someone's form and destroying another one's form, because Jordan Poole was playing at a peak.
Yes.
Okay, so you sending him to the bench and playing someone who is coming. I know they want to get him going fast for the team so that they can actually win more games. But then when he came and they started playing him, they started losing more games. If people can check, if you think I'm capping, if people can check, they started losing so many games with the Klay Thompson being a starter.
True.
Okay.
Can I come
in here? Yeah.
The reason why they did that was for this moment, the playoffs, right? I mean, Poole could win you games, but this is Poole's first time playing in the playoffs. So they would trust Klay Thompson to start the games rather than Poole. So I felt like they sacrificed a few wins in the regular season just to prepare for the playoffs. So
it's true.
Because if they had started Klay as a bench player in the regular season.
Exactly. I know they needed him to recover so fast for the team, because they know what he brings to the table. They know how much
he was coming in late.
And I think them losing those matches with Clay being a starter, I don't think it really got to them, because they were very close to the number of games they needed to win to make the playoffs. So I don't think they just needed him to recover, like just settle into the game, get his groove on fast, so that they can actually win more games going forward and maybe like win more playoff games and all that. So I think it was for me personally. I don't really know about basketball and its coaching and everything, but then I think it was a very hasty, a very hasty decision to play Clay and bench Jordan Poole, who was playing at the peak of his game during the season. So the Warriors.
It comes back to what I was talking about earlier about the Golden State culture and the system, right? And then once all the players were bought into it, they knew once they put Clay into the into the lineup, it wasn't going to rub people wrongly, right? Because someone like Jordan, because mind you, all sports is full of egos, right?
Yeah.
He could have easily been like, why have I been the one holding down the fort, and then this guy just comes back and then they just slide him right into the lineup, right? But then put me on the bench, because I'm a Celtics fan, so I've seen this before. When Gordon Hayward broke his ankle and then came back, and then they put him right into the starting lineup, the players weren't happy, and then that was part of the downfall, of the season, alongside Kyrie shenanigans and everything like that. And so I was expecting them to bring him off the bench, not because he wasn't good enough, but just to ease him into the game, because it's not only about how you play, it's about how you're mentally conditioned, right? And so not to put too much pressure on him to do a lot, because once he has started, they put you in there, they expect to start hitting shots, just to ease him in. Hey, you don't have to hit 30 shots in a game. You don't have to score 30. You don't have to score 50. Just go in there, play some good defense, make a few passes here and there, put up a few shots, and it will be fine. Just grab. But Coach K was like, nope. Like Kingsley said, I'm just taking the gamble. We can sacrifice a few losses and then easily just get everybody going. So at least it worked. So now you never know what would have happened. So that's okay.
Now let's enough of the Warriors talk and everything, but still on the Western Conference. So let's look at the playoff run for the Warriors. Now they faced off Nikola Jokic Nuggets. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies, and then they just finished off the Dallas Mavericks. When they were paired with the Denver Nuggets coming into the first round, were you guys expecting the Warriors to, I wouldn't say a gentleman's sweep, but like to walk over the Nuggets just easily like that? Because mind you, during the regular season, they had a tough time against the Nuggets. So I mean, coming into the postseason, were you guys expecting the Warriors to quite finish these teams?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not to walk over them, but I knew it was good, because when you talk about the Warriors, talk about what? Playoff experience, championship experience, right?
Yeah.
This Denver team is not very experienced. And then if you look at the core, they didn't have their second best player, they didn't have the third best player. They didn't have Jamal Murray for the whole year. They didn't have MPJ for the whole year. So they were going to play who? Monte Morris, who? Bones Highland, Campazzo, Austin Rivers. These guys are not going to get it done for you in the postseason, right? Because the playoffs is a whole ball game altogether. It's a different animal. It's not a regular season where you can have Jokic throwing 15 assists a game. No, you can have Jokic, but he's not going to be enough for the team. But then Golden State had almost everybody available. I mean, if you take out Iguodala, who was injured, I think he was injured at the time, right?
Yes.
And then you take out, even Gary Payton wasn't injured at the time. So the team was, pretty much together at that point. So I didn't think it was going to be too much for them.
Exactly. But to me, it should have been a sweep, because they had no answer to it was a mismatch, so it should have been a sweep. I don't know how.
And Draymond frustrated Jokic so much. I didn't even see how they stole one game.
Like Janet said, it should really have been a sweep, because
it should have been a sweep. Straight up.
Adam Silver wanted more money.
I feel like those Warriors games, right? I feel like they just want to close it out, like in front of their fans. So every time
that's what the Warriors do. That's what the Warriors do.
But then also, but then you see, one thing about it is like you are also putting your players in danger, because then you don't know. Like, let's say you play a game there and they play it at Chase Center and one of your stars get injured. You are the one to blame for it.
Yeah. Right.
You remember this? I think the Mavericks game, right? Same thing happened. Steph got an ankle twisted.
Yeah.
And I think Draymond also had a hard fall.
Yes.
So imagine if like it became
anything
a serious
could happen.
injury.
Anything.
Yeah, imagine if it became a serious injury. You are losing both Draymond and Steph heading into the finals.
So
sometimes when you have the chance to
they should be doing a clean sweep and not a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah.
If you have it in front of you, take it. Why wait?
If you have the chance to sweep them, just sweep them. Because then
just
I feel like these were two chances where Warriors could have swept their opponents, but then they decided to finish it off.
The main issue is if the Mavericks managed to win the game 5, it would have put a little bit of pressure
on the team. Yes.
Yeah, because
it's like in a way, right? In a way, it's all good that you want to win in front of your fans. I mean, you want to make the money. I know San Francisco, like their tickets is like over £300, like for like normal starters. So it's nice. You want to sell out your arena for an extra game, but you also have to think of this, what you're trying to achieve here, like a championship. So you could have, bro, if they had finished the game on like game 4, right? If they had finished the game at game 4, they would have had a lot of chance to rest. Like a lot of time to rest.
All right. Which of the matchup, Garnett, which of the Warriors matchup do you think was the toughest? Was it the one against Mavericks or the Nuggets, or the Memphis Grizzlies? Because people feel like the Nuggets was an easy matchup, but the Memphis Grizzlies really, really gave them a tough time, because even without Ja Morant, the Mavericks, the Grizzlies still played the best of their basketball, and they did show up. Yeah. I mean, when they went to the home case, the home arena of Mavericks. Why do I keep saying Mavericks? I don't know.
I mean,
this is Mavericks, but
yeah, you're having some soft spot for them,
and Warriors.
Having some soft spot for them.
Sexuals.
I mean, the series, the score of the series since the playoffs started even says it for itself. I mean, they out what do you call the Nuggets 4-1, and then they did the same thing with the Mavericks. But it's only the Grizzlies who were able to hold them to a 4-2, right? So I mean, we all know who was the toughest matchup for them. It was the Grizzlies, and I think a fit Grizzlies team with Dylan Brooks got a suspension for I think a single game. I think if both teams had their players going for them, like Moran should have played, and I think Gary Payton should have played and everything. I think it was going to go to a game 7, because that matchup was very, 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 very difficult. I mean, the Grizzlies had some core players, some very good young players who were also playing their hearts out and everything. So I think that game, without the lapses, without the mess ups and everything, I think that game would have gone to game 7, because the Grizzlies weren't ready to give up. And we all know what Ja Morant brings to the table. Okay, he's a facilitator, and then he's very explosive as well. He goes to the basket whenever he wants. The penetration is serious, everything. So I think that game would have gone to game 7, and at the game 7, I wouldn't be able to predict. Game 7, it goes to who wants it more. Okay, it goes to who wants it more. So I think the Grizzlies would have been a very good match. Was a very good matchup for them. And I mean, it could have been dangerous for the Warriors. But then Ja Morant going out the game, I think gave them an edge to actually go ahead and win that particular series. So I think the Grizzlies were the tougher matchup for them in this playoff road to the final. So
okay,
yeah, it was the Grizzlies.
All right, Jamie. So do you feel if Morant wasn't out injured, and I mean we all saw how he got injured, there was blame from him, the whole Memphis organization, fan base. Right. Do you think if he wasn't out injured, this would be a game 7 series against the Warriors?
It could have been. Like, so here's the thing. If they had GP2, right? If he hadn't gotten injured before, there was I mean, it could have been in 6. But not having
in 6
GP2. Oh, for Warriors, I never thought Memphis was going to win. See, once the switch flipped for Golden State, there was no stopping them. I didn't see anybody in the West who could stop them, right? Not even Phoenix. Nobody could stop Golden State, right? Because trust me, Golden State has been a defensive stopper. It's one thing that people don't really talk about because of Boston, right? Because Boston, people don't really talk about Golden State's defense, but they play very good defense. But because of how Boston came and took over the defensive, all the defensive, talks in the league, and how good of an offensive team Golden State is, people don't really talk about their defense, right? But with Ja would have given them some problems, obviously, because it's Ja Morant, right?
Of course.
But I don't think with GP2 it could have gone 7. It probably 6. because they brought in GP2 into the lineup just because of Ja. But without GP2, no, I think Warriors could have finished in maybe 6. The only reason it would have gone 7 would have been maybe a little slip up. But like we were talking about before, I don't think Game 7 was going to be in San Francisco. It was going to be in Memphis, right?
Yes.
Because
Memphis had the home court advantage.
Yeah, so they were going to finish it in 6. I don't really think it was going to go 7. They were going to let it go 7. Especially, no, I don't think it was going to go.
Kingsley, you disagree?
Yeah, well, if provided everyone is healthy, including GP3, right?
Yeah.
It's in 6, bro. It cannot be in
6. Yeah, it couldn't go 7.
It can't go 7 because then 1, right? See, what you guys have to also realize is Memphis is a totally different team without Ja Morant. It's difficult to figure them out. If Ja Morant is on the field, he doesn't defend. Like, he doesn't defend at all. But then if Morant get replaced, now the whole team their defense goes really, really hard. They play really good defense. And these people are young. They could chase Steph and Clay around. They don't care about how many screens they run over. They are going to chase them. So Memphis are a really good team. One thing I feel like the final is going to be like really entertaining if Celtics meets Warriors is. I feel like Celtics has the kind of players that could chase around Steph and Clay. And they could protect, they have rim protectors. Bro, like the Celtic Warriors game, I can't wait to see it. Warriors would have a big shot.
Okay. Now let's talk about. I mean, it looks like you guys already talk about Celtics, and I'm laughing because Garnett,
bro.
What happened in Game 6?
Garnett, what happened?
What the fuck was going on,
bro? So I was out of the house and I go back. I think when I came back, it was 2 minutes left for the first quarter to end, and I think the Miami Heat were up. I think 6 or 8. Yeah, I was like, "What's happening?" I think this was going to be so easy. We are going to like lead from the onset, right, so the game will end. I started watching the game and I realized we were all over the place. Our defensive plans weren't going as we used to go, and like we were all over the place. I don't really understand what was going on. I mean, yesterday everybody was confused. I mean, the whole second half, Jaylen Brown had just 2 points, missing clutch free throws, open layups. He goes for a dunk and then he misses it. An offensive foul. I mean, bro, last night I was in awe. Like I was very confused. I have seen like we play bad games, have some bad games and all that, but then last night was awful. I couldn't sleep. And you know how how every pundit in the basketball fraternity right now sees the Celtics, like all the praises we are getting, and we can't stay consistent for just 2 games. We have a good game today and tomorrow we are confused. I mean, it doesn't make no sense. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and the rest, they should be very ashamed of themselves. I mean, they should do something about this in the next game. It's going to be very difficult. I'm not saying it's going to be, because right now Miami is having a different mentality, a different mindset going into the next game, because it's happening in their home court, and then I don't think they're going to sit down and watch us come and massacre them like that. So it's going to be a very hard Game 7 for us, and if we are going to turn the balls over, going to like end up running into players for offensive fouls and have those lapses we've had in the past against the Milwaukee Bucks, and then I think we should just forfeit the game and give them the win so that they go ahead into the final, because it's going to be a very hard matchup. We have to get our shooting right. We have to get our defensive right. We have to get everything right on that particular Sunday night. So I don't think we should go into that game feeling like, this is Celtics. We have the best defense. Now we have to go into that game with a different mentality, or else that game wouldn't yield anything positive for the Celtics. So there's a lot to say, but then, man.
Yo, Jimmy.
Okay, so where you going?
Hold on.
No. I was saying he's really frustrated, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
bro.
It was the same way I felt when Warriors was not trying to close out games. I mean, because when you do that, then the teams come into the next game with the mindset,
with some momentum,
But Jamie, that's my question. The Milwaukee Bucks series went to Game 7. You have Miami again going to the Game 7. That's back-to-back Game 7s, giving the chance that if you guys meet the Warriors have 3-day rest. What do you think is the problem with the Celtics not being able to finish games and then going back-to-back Game 7s? What has been the problem and what can be the solution?
Oh, Garrett said everything already. Inconsistency, right? And I feel like they probably finish up a game, win a good game, they go back home and all they watch is ESPN. Because once you turn ESPN, everybody is praising the Celtics. And then it goes into their heads and then they come out like this. Oh, yeah, we'll be the Dons. But they come out and they get punched in the mouth. They're like, oh, my God. So I think they really have to set up. And I think that's the next level they have to go through. That's the next step. Regardless how this season goes, going into the next season, that's how they have to approach games, right? Like Brad Stevens used to say something. He said, like, you don't go too high, you don't go too low, right? Wherever you are, you have to, be modest. You have to understand that there's more to do. So you don't, sink so deep when you lose, and you don't, get too prideful when you win, right? You have to, realize there's so much more work to do, because they won 2 back-to-back games, and obviously ESPN has already previewed a Celtics Warriors finals. We're still going to play game 6, right? We haven't played game 6 yet. But you look at ESPN, you look at Fox, FS1, you look at all the podcasts. Everybody's previewing Celtics and Warriors finals, and I'm sure they were like, "Oh yeah, maybe we just go finish your food and go house." But it doesn't work like you still have to play basketball, because this is a Miami team. I mean, the Milwaukee series was different, right? The Milwaukee series, they had that sense of urgency. That's why I feel like if you want the Celtics to win, you have to tell them one thing: this is a must-win game. I think that's what they have to hear every time, because once they hear that, they're like, "Oh yes, we have to win this game." Then all of a sudden they can, because I've been telling Garrett all the time that if the Celtics play their brand of basketball, nobody can touch them. I said nobody. Do you know why? Because of how they play. Once they play good defense and then they move the ball on the offensive end, it becomes very difficult for you to stop them. Because once you come on the defensive end, you're running to different bodies. They are switching everything. They have players who can switch from 1 through 5. You have Marcus Matthews, the defensive player of the year. He can switch from 1 through 5. You have big wings in Jason Tatum. You have Jaylen Brown. You have Big Al, and you have Robert Williams at the rim, right? So it's a different thing. As you compare, if you compare Boston to the Dallas Mavericks, it's a different team altogether, right? But before you get to that level to play with the Warriors, you have to beat Miami first, and you're not beating Miami. So you come into the game and then you listen to all these reports about Kyle Lowry limping when he got off the bars, and then Jim Butler's knees still banged up, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, as we get robbed, we got the smart back, we're good. We would no. You still have to play a brand of basketball, because somebody said something. He said the worst NBA team can still win some games if they play hard. Once you play hard, you're guaranteed a few wins here and there. So it's not a complete walkover when you think, oh, we won game 5, we won game 4, we won game 5, so we're going to win game 6. It's not there for the taking. You have to really go get it. Right? So you don't get too complacent when you get a few wins here and there, and then you refuse to close a game out in front of your home fans. That's the difference between Golden State and then the other teams, right? That's the heart of a champion. When we talk about the culture, when we talk about the system, they saw the sense of urgency to close out Dallas at home, right? And then get a trophy at home in front of your fans. Everybody's happy. They move on to the next thing. But now they're going to walk into a hostile environment in Miami. Come on, man. Something got to change. I don't know if it's the players. I don't know if they need. I was saying something that they probably need Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett in the locker room to tell them something. Because if you don't have, people telling them, yo, there was this article from. Sorry, I'm talking too long, but there's a lot of things to unpack.
Oh yeah, I mean,
there was this article from ESPN yesterday, and then they were saying, once it comes, you have to take it. Once the door is open, you have to walk through the door. Because once it closes, and then he was the writer, Tim Bontemps. He was talking about the OKC team from 2012, where they had James Harden, they had Raz, they had KD, and then once they lost to Miami that year, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna come back. Oh yeah, we're gonna come back." And then in the offseason, James Harden gets traded, and then this happens, and then that happens, and then they never got back into the finals again, right? So you can't just sit back and say, "Oh, once we did it this year, oh, next year we're gonna be back." It's not there for you to go take. It's not in your house, right? There's too many things that have to come together for you to be in that position. You never know what's going to happen. You could lose your best player in the first game of the season.
Yes.
Too many things have to happen for you to be in the finals. Some other team has to get injured. Some other team has to play bad. You have to be healthy. You have to have a good chemistry together before you can make a deep run in the playoffs. So once you get that chance to be in there, you don't have to waste it. You just have to take it. And I think they are wasting a golden opportunity. They feel they are young and you might probably, but it doesn't work that way. Only LeBron James, right? So they got to get it together.
All right, Kingsley, going into Game 7, Miami versus Celtics. What do you think? What are you expecting from these two teams? I mean, these are some of the best defensive teams in the East, not just in the East, but in the NBA as well. And so going into Game 7 on Sunday, what are your expectations? What are you expecting to see the Celtics do? What are you expecting the Miami Heat to do as well? Because, mind you, this is coming into Miami's home court. Celtics have lost home court advantage right now. So what do you expect from Miami?
So I feel like from Miami, well, let me just say from Celtics. So from Celtics, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this whole playoffs, they haven't cared about home court advantage at all. When they come to your home, they'll try and win. Could you believe they've had more wins in Miami than in Boston in this series? So they could also say, like, yeah, it's your home, but we've made it ours. So this Game 7. And the wins that they win at Miami, right? It's not just normal 5 points, 10 points.
But then I think it's the same thing. Miami has won the same number of games.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Both teams. But all I'm saying is with Celtics, right? They beat you convincingly. Like they try to make you like they humiliate you in front of your fans. And the way they play their defense, right? If they set their defense really straight, I feel like they could do the same thing in the Game 7. However, Miami Heat are not going to allow it in front of their home crowd. Definitely not. I mean, they'll play with pride.
You know the most funny thing? The funny thing is whatever situation Tyler Hero is in right now, they are going to force and push him into the lineup. Or maybe he will come in. He will be coming off as
groin injuries. It's not a quick fix, right?
Yes.
They did the same thing with Anthony Davis.
You see him on the bench. He's okay. He looks
perfectly okay.
When you're on the bench, you look okay. I mean,
yeah, you look okay on the bench. That's why somebody tests, because see, if you tear your Achilles right now, right, they'll do your surgery in 2 days because the league has money. And you have to go from me, right? The league has money. They'll do your surgery in like 2-3 days. They put you in a cast. Once the sore heals, like the sore is going to heal very fast, right? So within a few weeks, the cast is off. You're working normal. But you're not clear to play because a lot of things have to happen before you're allowed to. When last year, when they pushed AD into the lineup to go play versus Phoenix, he also had a groin injury. He couldn't even jump. They had to take him out of the game immediately. That was like the Game 5 or something like that. Groin is different. And I'm sorry to say, but once you get groin injuries, it becomes a lingering thing. It keeps coming back because it's like a tissue, something like that. So it becomes very easy to bruise. It becomes very easy to aggravate. So for Tyler, they can still Boston can still win even if Tyler plays, right? But I feel like Miami is not going to sit back and be like, oh, now we got a momentum. The momentum just swung to our side because we came into your house and then we beat you. And now our guys are, so it's going to depend on how well Tyler Hero's hamstring is going to feel and how well Jim Butler. And there's one stat I was talking about before we came on, that whenever Jim Butler has a big game or he plays like big minutes, the game after he drops a stinker.
Yep,
right?
Yep.
So he dropped 47 last night. He played like 47,
crazy numbers,
43 minutes or whatever.
Crazy numbers.
The next game, he's going to come off slow. Yes. So him, what they did in game 5 was they played him like a center, right? They never let him get off his feet or post up or nothing, just do his turnaround jumper. They never let him do any of that, right? But this time, I don't know what they did, but they let him go too much. And then, like I was saying, I don't know what's wrong with Robert Williams. I feel like he wasn't himself at some points in the game. I mean, he came alive in the third quarter, but he wasn't really himself because, come on, if Robert Williams is in the paint, how the hell is Jimmy Butler going into the paint for layups, right? So I feel like he didn't play too much, or he didn't play as much as he was expected to. When this team is whole and then this team is playing their best brand of basketball, they become very difficult to beat because their defense dictates their offense. So once the defense is logged in, come on, they won that game 5 with their defense. They weren't very good offensively in game 5, but because they missed like a ton of shots. Jason Tatum was what? Just an abysmal shooting number on the night. But then because of the defense they played that in game 5, they had a chance to win that game. And I feel like that's the same thing they have to do. They are not scared of going to another man's building, just as Miami wasn't scared coming into our building to win. They've seen that over and over and over again. And I feel like one thing you have to tell the Celtics is, hey guys, this is a must-win game. I think once they hear those things, they become like, oh my God, we have to win, let's go win. Because once everybody told them that, oh, they can beat Miami, this season is over, I've canceled my reservations in Miami, I'm not going back to Miami, they're going to lift it tonight. They were like, oh yeah, we can win tonight. And now all of a sudden they got punched in the mouth. So I feel like they still have a chance to win in game 7. I've seen them do it over and over and over again. And I haven't seen them play 2 bad games in a row in a very long time. They drop a stinker, the next game they come out strong. They drop another stinker. That's like Gareth was saying, they are very, very inconsistent. That's just how they play. But I just hope they come out there and then put up a fight.
All right, Kingsley. So who are you picking to win this game 7? Because like you said, Celtics have a way of not winning at their home court, but humiliating you in front of your fans. Do you think Miami will just sit back and be like, you know what? Let's just let this one slide, and Celtics will come like, yeah, that's Celtics again. What are you, like I'm saying, what are you still expecting?
Well, I'm still expecting Celtics in 7. I'm not gonna lie. I'm expecting Celtics in 7. Yeah, because I feel like Celtic has got everything to beat Miami Heat. They are just lacking consistency. That, I mean, they both mentioned.
Yes.
That is the key factor here. Like they just have to be consistent. And also, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they have to pick days on when they are not going to play well. I mean, they can't both just not show up. Come on, like,
how are so atrocious in the second half? Like, what happened?
Yeah, how would you guys, both of you guys, just go off and then come on? Like, if one wants to have an off day, cool, but not the two of you. That's all I'm saying. And with Miami, right, they struggle with scoring against the Celtics. Celtics really do not. Celtics are their own like problems. Because if they actually stop turnovers, defend well, and make shots, Miami doesn't stand a chance.
Okay.
See, when they make shots with Miami, right?
Yeah.
Celtics will defend you, and you would be like, every shot you make will be contested. But with Celtics, I feel like it's all about them making shots. It's not about Miami playing a good defense.
Okay.
To be honest. Yeah. So that's why I'm choosing Celtics.
About the turnovers. Yeah, the turnovers are very, very bad. I don't know what happened in this series. You could attribute some of that to the Miami defense, right? You have to give Miami defense a credit, because if you look at how they just look at you from one side, and then one thing, Jimmy Butler is poking the ball, they are plugging up your passing lanes, so they're getting so many. So you look at Jimmy Butler, you look at Oladipo. These guys are just monitoring how you're going to move or how you're going to move the ball, because the Celtics like to move the ball a lot. Once they're playing very well, they like to move the ball. And I feel like that's one thing that went wrong with the Celtics last night. The ball movement was so bad. Yeah. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum decided to be like the heroes in the game, because you didn't really see the ball move so much in the second half. Like, everything got stuck, right? And so if you look at the third quarter, that was when Miami kind of blew the game open with that 13-point lead, and then everything just became like a struggle for them. So if they decide to move the ball again, because if Draymond Green will tell you, once you move the ball will find the right person. That was the problem they had when Coach Kerr came in. They were like, come on, the ball's got to go to Steph or Clay because they are the shooters. He was like, no, just pass the ball. Just keep passing the ball. Just keep passing the ball. The Peyton Pritchard didn't hit any shots. Brian Williams didn't hit any shots. And these are guys who have been hitting like open shots like all throughout the postseason. And these guys are like young shooters who are coming up. So it's easier for them to hit like wide open shots than contested shots. They're not Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, right? So you have to work to get them the open shots. So if you're not moving the ball, you're not going to get those guys the open shots. That's why Brian Williams went off against Milwaukee Game 7 because they decided to leave him open and then keep Brook Lopez in the paint because they're trying to block the paint against Brown and Tatum. And then they left Brian Williams and then PP open. So if you don't move the ball very well and then create the open shots, you're not going to have it. You have to move the ball. If they don't move the ball, it's going because once you decide to dribble, that's when they keep looking at you because once you are dribbling, they are looking at you. They are setting their defense. But you can't set your defense against a ball movement play. Once the ball is moving, everybody got to move too because they are switching. So you have to also keep running around. And that's when your defense collapses. But then if you are standing around and this person is dribbling, this person dribbles, and everybody's like, okay, make we see what they will do. And then that's it. They figure out your defense. And then that's when they get the steals, they get the turnovers and everything. So if the Celtics want to win, like I keep saying it, it's not magic, it's not juju. They just have to play their best brand of basketball. Defense, keep switching, and then create those mismatches, and then get the ball, run in transition, make some good passes, get that extra pass up a good shot for a great shot, and then that's how you win against Miami.
Okay.
And also, I feel like,
okay, all right, go ahead.
And also, I feel like Celtics have made them, like, they've made themselves too much, like, for Warriors to expose. Because now that they are in the seven, Warriors are sitting back, watching them, analyzing their places where they are vulnerable, how they perform under pressure and stuff like that. They will be analyzing Celtics really, really good. Like you've given them another game for them to analyze you.
Exactly,
so
they're very true.
This is really not good for the Celtics, even if they win. So that is why they should have finished up the game yesterday.
Okay, who do you think will be the key player for Celtics going into Game 7? And who is that player that needs to turn up real hard for Celtics to come away with the victory going into Game 7 on Sunday?
I think with that, it's going to be one of our bigs. It's going to be one of our bigs. It could be Rob Williams or maybe our Horford. Okay, they should really come in hard in the Game 7, and if they do, I think we are going to win. But I mean, what I'm going to say right now is, anytime we lose the game, my confidence drops. So right now, if you ask me to predict who is going to win that particular matchup, if you ask me who is going to win Game 7, I will tell you I don't know. It could go anyways. For me, yeah, maybe you guys are confident the Celtics are going to grab that win, but for me, the way we played, it plays in my mind like we are going there to repeat what we did on our home court. That was plays in my head because we had a very shambolic game, and it gives me that anxiety like we are not going to do anything better there, not being our home. Even our home, we couldn't even play better. So you're going to be intimidated out there by the loud fans, the number of fans, the people are coming, like everything. How are you going to perform better? So that's what plays in my mind because we couldn't do it in our own backyard. So I think it's going to be hard for me to predict, but then I'm just going to enjoy the game. Whoever goes, I mean, deserves to go because we underrated Miami Heat for far too long, and they showed us they are not just something we can walk over.
I don't understand why.
But you said something. You said something about the bigs, right? Sorry, Kingsley. You said something about the bigs, right? And it comes back to what I was saying about the ball movement. Because if you look at Al has it been like that good? I think he hit just like three points. He had 3 points last night. He had 2
points. Last night he had 2 threes.
Yeah, 3 pointers.
Yeah.
2 threes, right?
2 threes, yeah. One in the clutch.
So Al, for instance, Al, for instance, benefits from our ball movement, right? Because once the ball keeps moving, he sometimes finds himself like open. Because everybody feels like maybe once the ball is moving, maybe Jalen or Jason is going to drive to the basket or something. He hit
a lot of corner threes, yeah.
Yeah, so they are all people who benefit from our ball movement. And then even Rob Williams, once everything becomes difficult, we have him to catch our lobs for us, right? But then if everybody decides to play hero, that's not going to happen, right? If you decide to drive into a crowd, you are getting double teamed because Miami, they don't switch because they don't have a lot of good defensive players, right? So they don't switch. They try to just double team, help off of each other and everything like that. So that's when people become open. Because if you are Jaylen Brown and then you are driving the ball into the paint and then they put 2 players on you, then you should know damn sure there's somebody wide open in the corner who can take a shot. So why do you keep dribbling, and then you get the ball stolen from you? So they have to really keep moving the ball. Once the ball starts moving, I can just sit back and be like, okay, this game is over. And then, like Kingsley said, once you do this, you get yourself exposed, right? Then Golden State can be like, because historically, Celtics haven't been very good in like late game situations, right? They've been able to pull a few late game situations off, but down in the clutch, they are not there yet. That's like a next level, like Brown and like Tatum have to get to, right? They're not there yet. They're not the guys who you can say, okay, it's time to take the game over. They are not very there yet. But then if you have like Clay, Steph, and these guys like Draymond Green, that are going to face, like, you better finish up the game early because they're not going to let you have it like in the clutch, right? So that's one thing they're exposing themselves to. That Golden State can be like, oh, these guys, we can match up with them like boot for boot. Like in a clutch, we can have a few things, done for us. Exactly. They can't because in a clutch they get so confused. They get so flustered, like they don't know what they're doing. Do I just drive and then go get an easy layup, or like Brown went and got an offensive foul last night? Like they don't really know what to do. He missed like 2 free throws. Like, what do we do? They get so confused. At some point, they're like, nobody really knows what they are doing. And like I was reading this some time back that anytime Jaylen Brown looks confused, we lose. There are sometimes that you see him in a game and like, what's happening to Brown? Like, is he there? Because it feels like he's playing the game all right, but his mind is not. His mind is somewhere else. But once Brown is logged in, you realize, Charlie, who's stopping Brown? So I think like they all need to, maybe aside their basketball skills, I think enough they need to work on some mental conditioning and everything, because it gets to a point where like they're all like kind of disjointed. They are not really logged in. They're not really synced together. I think that's one part they need to really work on.
And Grant Williams is actually not helping. He's not bringing anything to the team offensively since Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, this particular season he's been very off. This particular series he's been very, very.
He's played some good defense against Bam, but offensively no.
Yeah. I think yesterday he didn't have more than 6 points, and it's very, very abysmal if you ask me, because
he hasn't played well against Miami at all.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. He should just up his game, and maybe we can actually get to them in the next game, because he's one of the best point shooters we have in our team right now.
Yeah.
The next game.
You made a point, right? You said in clutch, Celtics cannot really finish like games off, right? That was a brilliant point, because Warriors, this is what they do. They'll stay with you because they know they are not good during the start of the game. So the first quarter, second quarter, they would stay with you. You could lead them by 5 or 10, and it's still okay. And then the third quarter, they'll blow you out. And in the fourth quarter, you don't start a chance against them in the fourth.
At all.
Like you don't. They are the best fourth quarter team in the NBA. So this is what they could do. They could just stay with them in the first half. They don't have to play much. I mean, they would get baskets and stuff. Celtic could lead up to 10, and they will still feel confident that they will finish off the game. People might think, Celtic they've played good in the first half, but the Warriors second half. I don't know what Coach Kerr, like what offense he runs or what he says to the players, but during the third quarter, bro, like they are a completely different team. I always say they are another team, like they are another NBA team, like in the third.
So,
because I mean, when they got their assistant coach, right, he couldn't really get them going in the third and fourth, like how Steve Kerr does. So I don't know.
So now let's talk hypotheticals, right? Hypothetically speaking, I mean, because I have Celtic fans here, and maybe Kingsley will speak for Miami Heat.
Okay,
Warriors, Celtics finals. What could be the defining factor for Celtics should they win that series? Jamie, we have some few minutes, so let's just...
Consistency, come on. With the you can't go to sleep for a second, right? Because the way the Warriors offense is built, that's how the Celtics defense is also built, right? So the Warriors move the ball, the Celtics also switch. You get it. So they don't have to really, do all these double team and things like that. But if it's maybe Steph Curry, maybe you might want to double a little bit. If you think maybe Dre's out in the corner, and then you're not trusting Dre to maybe shoot a corner three or something like that. You can live with Draymond Green's 3-pointers, right? But the way the Warriors move the ball, the Celtics also switch like that, right? So once you know you are playing one-on-one, you can't go to sleep. Especially if you're someone like Steph, you can't go to sleep. You can't give him any space to shoot because it's just you, right? And then once it's just you, you have no room for error. You have to execute to utmost perfection. You have to play like your best brand of basketball. And at the moment, like they have the momentum for them because one, they have a championship experience, and then now they are much healthier than your team. They are home. They have the home court, and then they are having more rest days than you are going to have. The momentum is on their side. So you don't have to climb out of the hole and then come out and be like, okay, let's go. So what are you going to do? Play your defense game because one-on-one defense, we can defend Golden State, right? But as to whether we can do it for 48 minutes, that'll be the problem. Because Golden State, they just need a good 3 to 5 minute stretch to outscore you 20 points. Then that's the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
They can just come into the third quarter before you get your feet set in the third quarter. Within 5 minutes, boom, 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 boom. It's like a 20-2 run, and then the game is blown wide open. And now they just trade buckets with you. So regardless how much you are scoring, the gap is still there. You can't fill it in because you can't go on a run because they've already blown it open. So they have to be really careful. And the Warriors are not bad defensively. They are very, very good defensively too. So you have to really pay attention to how you play these guys. You have to bring your A game. You have to play like a near perfect game to be able to beat the Warriors. But I still feel like the Celtics have a chance. It's not like, oh, when the Celtics walk into the final, it's Golden State. No. Anything can happen in this series. I would need like maybe the first 2 games to see where the series will go.
Okay. So Jamie spoke about how good defensively you guys are. How do you match up offensively with a Golden State team that can score from with anybody? I mean, we even saw Kevon Looney posting up 20 points per game when it was necessary. So, Garnett, how would you say Celtics can match up with the Warriors offensively? Because defensively, you're one of the best teams in the NBA. Offensively, how do you match up with the Warriors?
I don't really have much to say because with this inconsistency, sometimes we are scoring. We feel like we are the Superman in the league. And one time we are the like.
YMCA.
Yeah, I mean, with that I can't say much. We are very, very unpredictable right now. I mean, we can get into our group and score more. We can score and like feel like we are better than the Warriors at a point. But then the next game I can't really predict. So here's the thing: if we are going to be consistent enough, I think we are going to match them in every situation, defensively and offensively. We are going to do so well against them. But then Jaylen Brown wants to tell me today I'm at the office, but then I'm not having it. I'm not feeling it, so I'll go off. And then Jaylen Brown will also say, Jason Tatum will also say, yeah, he's my brother. I'm with him. I'm also going off. So with this inconsistency, I mean, I can't really say much about how we are going to match up with their offense. I mean, the defensively sometimes, it's there. We can really have it. But then with the offense, I mean, we miss a lot of baskets sometimes. Jaylen Brown is our second best player. Like, he's the cornerstone to the team. And he's missing clutch free throws. I mean, this is a go-ahead free throw. And then you go to the line and then you miss both.
Both. That's bad.
You get it. So I mean, going up against Warriors, you have to bring your A game. You can't go there and say, I'm having a bad day, I'm going to miss free throws and I expect to win the game. You are not going to win the game like that. Offensively, they are better than us, but then we can do better. That's what I can say.
And also, one thing I've noticed that Celtics are not really good at, that Warriors are really, really good at split action. Like they would
Yes.
They have a hard time
bring the
defending
ball
split.
up, right? Pass the ball in the post, and Kerry would look for a place like to stand, and then they would throw the ball back to Kerry, and then straight to me. Like, come on, like Celtics cannot really defend that. So I feel like going into the game, it will really be a very, very like big.
That was how bad the Dallas was, because Dallas couldn't do so much to Looney in the post, right? They didn't have like a big man in the post, really match up. So then it became very easy. So offensive rebounds from Looney turned into like a three from Clay or from Poole or from Steph, because get somebody wide open to shoot. So Boston, I think one of the X factors we are going to need is Williams and then Looney. Like, Williams cannot let Looney eat like he did in the Dallas series, right? Those rebounds, those like post plays and stuff like that. Williams should not allow that.
Okay.
He did it to Bam. He shouldn't let Looney get into it, right? So
the thing is,
it could be a different thing, but I feel like Rob should hold his own.
Yeah, but the thing
because Looney is also coming. Looney has that confidence right now. He feels like Hakeem Olajuwon, right?
Okay, so like we're saying, Warriors Celtics hypothetical. As you guys have spoken about it, and Garnett and and Jamie has spoken. Kingsley, for Miami Heat, wrapping up real quick, what do you think they should do if they meet the Golden State Warriors? Can they be a good matchup for the Warriors, or you think it will be a sweep?
They'll be lucky if they win. Well, I wouldn't say it would be a sweep, because I know Warriors, right? They would give them
a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, I feel like it will be at least like 6 games. At most 6 games. At most 6 games. I feel like it shouldn't be a matchup, because Miami, right? They know how to defend. They don't know how to score the ball like Celtic does. Like, I don't understand why. They've got multiple scorers on the team, but it's like they don't show up. Yeah, I don't understand why. Because how could your backcourt go 2 for something? Kawhi and the other guy. I'm like, bro, what are you guys doing?
Like 2 for 45, like very bad.
Yeah, like, what are you guys doing? Bro, they don't stand a chance against the Warriors. I'm not even going to entertain it and say they are going to go 7. I would be really surprised if they go 7.
Okay.
But they don't really stand a chance.
All right. One thing we've not talked about here, and I just want to take it real quick from everybody from here. Who has been the MVP this conference finals in the Eastern Conference? Jamie, who do you think? Because the way everybody faced me.
No, it was going to be Jimmy Butler, right? But he had like that 3-game stretch where he couldn't see the basket. He couldn't do nothing, right? But if you put together like the first game, he had 40, second game, he played only half of the game. He had like 23 before he got injured. The rest of the game, he had like 18, something like that. Then he had like 9, something. If in game 7, he puts up like a big game again, it's going to be Jimmy Butler, right? But then I feel like it has to be Brown. It has to be Brown. Tatum has been hitting those big shots. So everybody goes like, yes, oh my God, look at that boy. But then when it comes to like putting together like a whole like stretch of like, it has to be Jaylen Brown. Because even if you look at the numbers, if you look at the averages for the series, Brown is ahead of Tatum, right? But then Tatum is the one who hits all those big shots where everybody goes like, yes, look at that boy. Tatum has the Kobe Mamba out again. Yes, he's doing this, he's doing that. He has that kind of thing in him. But when it comes to that kind of, has been very good in the playoffs, right? So I can't really tell. I can't really tell, because for both of them, they play very good, right? Just that they're not very consistent. So everybody's like up there. That's why people feel like it should be Boston, right? Because they have 2 guys who can like easily score, but then they can't do it consistently. That's a problem. But then, depending on how game 7 goes, it should obviously be Jimmy Butler.
Okay. All right, Kingsley.
But the thing is, it depends on who wins the game 7, though.
Oh yeah, who wins the game 7? But that's what I'm saying. If Boston wins, I'll give it to Brown.
Now, if Boston wins,
I mean, the media they'll say it's Tatum's team.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's what I'm saying. You give it to Brown, right? But these awards now, I feel like it's popular.
Because listen to those votes. It's going to be like it's going to be like the ESPN voters, and then like the Boston area voters, and then the broadcast, the ABC broadcast.
How about TNT?
No, this time it's going to be ABC, right?
Oh, okay.
So ESPN, ABC. So it's going to be those guys, and then so it's local writers and a few national media, and then that's it. So I'm sure it's going to be Tatum.
Yeah, definitely. Because
I'm picking Brown though, because I'm looking at it, but once they look at whose team is it, they give it to the person whose team it is. I mean, so, I think it's going to be Tatum.
But then, if Miami wins, it's a no-brainer, Jimmy Butler.
Of course.
Of course.
No question.
Yeah. No question about
it. He's been the only one who has showed up.
Yeah. The person who
Bam has been asleep like all series.
Yeah, the person who has really surprised me is Bam Adebayo. Like, come on. Chip in. You see your teammates like.
No, but that's the whole thing. That's what
I'm saying. They don't stand a chance.
Interior defense.
But that's how good the Celtics is. They can just easily take out the player you're expecting to be great. I
understand that, right? So that's why I always rate Giannis, right? You see the Celtic defense. He was still going to scoring.
Giannis is on a different level.
Yes, Giannis is on a different level when it comes to offensive.
Great. Yeah, but I'm feeling like so all this offseason, right? What are you doing, bro? Like, it doesn't hurt to admit, okay, Giannis is better than me. I would adjust my game to the way Giannis plays. Imagine if Adebayo plays. I'm not saying he's going to be Giannis, right? But if he plays a touch bit like Giannis, I imagine that would really help. Do you know how scary Miami would be?
I want to know who Garnett is speaking, because every night he's insulting somebody. He's either insulting JT or insulting JB. I want to know.
For me, I think
I want to know who he's speaking.
For me, I'm going to go way outside the list you guys have mentioned, because those two people, those. Yeah, exactly. Because
now, if it's going to be, I'll rather pick Robert Williams, right? But without Rob, without Rob, maybe I'll be averaging like maybe 30.
Yeah,
Rob, right?
I want it for any of our bigs, because see, those two people we call our best players are just frustrating me here and there. But that's neither here nor there.
Submission.
Yeah, so I mean, I want it for our Hoffo so bad, because he's been outstanding. He's been very good this particular player.
Yeah, he's been like
we saw how we missed him when he couldn't play because of the COVID protocols and everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And he came back and we had a very good game. He had an awesome night and everything. So if we should win, I think he should go to our Hoffo. That's me. His numbers is not really up there with the likes of the Jason Tatums and the Jaylen Browns. But then I think defensively and offensively, the little he brings to the table is very crucial when we win and everything. So I think it should go to him. And if the Miami Heat should win, I think their best man has been Jimmy Butler. I mean, when he's not scoring, he's not scoring. But then when he's scoring, he's actually scoring. You get me? So I think,
once he gets going, that's it. It's over.
Yeah. So I think definitely going to go for.
You guys really wonder how Philly would have been if they kept Jimmy Butler?
Oh no, that's a whole different conversation.
That would be a topic for another yes.
Bro, like, because me seeing him now, I could only be like, imagine, like, damn.
Yeah,
he's a full package.
Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler.
It's a whole package.
Look at what he's doing. Look at what Jimmy Butler is bringing. Tobias Harris is bringing. I feel like they have to blow his contract. Well, we'll discuss that later on.
Let's leave this. We'll talk about this season chat for another time. They are also a whole.
You've seen how the Celtics needs to adjust their game to be able to beat Miami. I mean, in Game 7, which is going to happen tomorrow night, and I'm pretty sure Garnett and Jimmy, if you people know, do fast.
I'll be watching it like this.
Celtics in 7. Let's go.
Yo,
let's see how it goes.
It's been great, man. The OMN Podcast, NBA, everything. Subscribe to the channel. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can listen. Also, I mean, you can follow the guys all on Twitter and anywhere. So just follow the podcast. There'll be more content coming your way from myself, Derek, this Jamie, this Kingsley, and then Garnett. We'll be coming your way with great NBA podcast. We're looking forward to the finals, but then again, we're looking forward to Game 7. So, guys, Any last words before we end up?
Celtics is
Celtics in 7.
Let's go. Let's go.
Garnett.
Celtics in I'm scared.
You know what? You guys are Celtics fan, right? So I'll just have to pick the Heat.
That's cool. You have to show some respect to the Heat. That's it.
Yeah. We can't all just say Celtics in 7, but you know, I know what is going to happen, but we just hope. Let's see. Yeah.
All right. So it's been great having you guys here. We'll be back again with more content on OMN Podcast. We're out. Peace.
Thanks for having us.
All right, bro.